How's it going, everyone? We got a special TougeTalk episode for you today. It's going to be TougeTalk episode, I believe, 14. And today we have Sean Lee from Purist joining us. So thank you for coming.
Hi guys. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, of course. I noticed I posted your car, the Porsche, back in 2013, and you were actually surprisingly like one of our first followers. So it caught me off guard. I was like, oh, who's this guy? He runs the canyons and everything, because it was at Turnbull. And I guess we'll get started with like basically how did you get started in the canyons? Like what brought you into it? What brought you into how did your journey begin?
So actually I came from racing motorcycles back in the days, and during the 1990s. And after I took a major crash during one of the race, and I stopped riding motorcycles. And but the need for speed is always there. So at first I just built myself a RX-7 FC Turbo 2 in the 1990s and start running canyon with it. But at the time I don't know how to drive the canyon well. I just focused on building big horsepower. Never learned about handling and tuning of the suspension and chassis. So not shortly after that I crashed my car and flipped it over on Highway 39. But after that I didn't give up. I tried to find the right people to teach me how to drive and relearn how to, you figure I used to race motorcycle, I should automatically learn how to drive the car pretty fast, but it's not. And then I start finding a group of people that runs Miatas and A86s, a group of Japanese people. Then I actually bought my first A86 and started running with them. And that's how I started running Touge in the 90s.
Okay, so you've been at it for a while, definitely before, I guess most of you guys that are watching. But that's cool. So how did you, what roads did you, start on or prefer?
So I used to run a lot of GMRs, okay, and also Baldy and also Wilson and okay, ACH. So ACH is all the high speed sites, right? Then we went as far as doing what they call Ironman, all the way up to Ojai and come back. We used to do that almost every night.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
So every night. Did you guys ever run let's say like Malibu, Latigo?
We did that sometimes. Yeah, but again, there's so many houses over there. Sometimes people lay out their trash cans or animals. And GMR is much more controllable. ACH also.
Yeah.
It's great road, and it's easy to drive on compared to Malibu. Malibu is just too many residents on there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
And the road conditions is kind of rough. Got a lot of bumps, and certain sections are really good, but also there's a lot of course, it's being patrolled heavily because it's a residential area.
Yeah. So it leads me up to another, Touge that we've come across honestly not too long ago. Big Tahunga, Little Tahunga. Have you ever driven those?
Yeah, I've been there. Yes.
You've been to those?
Yeah.
Little Tahunga and GMR. I have to throw it out there. I got to ask. What do you prefer about each, I guess?
I like the rhythm of GMR because, first of all, it's short and you can run uphill and downhill, and you can let the car cool down a little bit and do another run, right? Yeah. Like anything in Malibu is very, very long, and if you're constantly running it, it takes a lot of toll on your engines and stuff like that, right? So, but for me, I run GMR for so many years. I like the rhythm of GMR and a lot more than anything else. And it's a very low horsepower and a very fast rhythm canyon road, so it doesn't require big horsepower to run that. And if you know your line and you know your apex is pretty good. So so I always like the GMR's rhythm. And I love ACH with a big horsepower car with more stable cars, but there's the speed on ACH is so high up there, and it's kind of scary. Yeah. And GMR, you're looking at, you'd be doing 30, 40, probably even 50, 60, and if you're single laning, it's already pretty darn fast. Yeah. So that's why I like GMR. It's funny to say, it's actually kind of safe because you're doing maybe 30, 40 in a corner, you hit on the brake, you basically, in case you're going to hit a wall, you'd be doing 10 to 20 miles an hour. Yeah, so most likely you'd be okay, On ACH,
yeah, that's a different story. That's so much high speed.
Yeah, so I never liked the high speed stuff.
Oh, okay. More technical.
More technical, yes.
Yeah, that's good. So GMR does have its different roads. It's got
GRR, GMR, then Baldy.
Yeah. So which one would you prefer?
I like GRR and GMR, and all the way from the bridge all the way up to the triangle where it really meet. Yeah. Right. Baldy side is a completely different animal because it's a single lane. There's no divider. That's why you used to go out there at night. You can see the oncoming traffic lights. Yeah. But if you're going really fast on the Baldy side, it's still pretty scary, So. Yeah. We have one guy actually hit a bear which is
bear.
BMW E36 M3, and his name's Joe. We nicknamed him the Bear Killer. Yeah, this is actually it's pretty crazy.
Damn, I haven't seen a bear up there.
Yeah, he
so
actually killed a bear.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Damn. Okay, so really quick, we're going to pause and just go straight to like your vehicles. So you mentioned you had an FC at the beginning. So what else have you driven in the Canyon, since? And what do you, out of all of them, what do you prefer? Which is your favorite?
So every car that I own, I drive them in the Canyons. Some of them at night, some of them during the daytime. I think it's the fastest way for me to get used to my cars, and I build them not really for show. I build them because I want to drive them and enjoy my time with them. So I do collect them, but also I enjoy driving them and spend time with them. So cars it's like my kid, and we build them well, and we just have to use them well. So
that's cool. So out of all the cars, which is your favorite to drive if you had one?
So let's break it down to higher speed and lower speed, okay? So it's probably easier. On GMR right now, I still always remember how A86 feels like, and its rawness, and you got to work for the speed. I actually just bought back my old A86. I want to restore it and start driving it again. Nice. For higher speed stuff, I always like. The R35 is really great, but it's too fast and too stable. And sometimes when you go out and drive, you wanted something to give you more feedback. These are really fast cars, but they just made too good to do canyon driving.
Gotcha.
For canyon on higher speed, higher horsepower ones, I like my GT3 RS, the 987.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very direct, very raw, and still on hydraulic steering. There's no major interventions like traction controls. There is, but it's very old-fashioned traction controls. It's not like the new one, PS. It's just like there's so many different settings on the newer version. So you basically have to really watch what you're doing with the 997 GT3 RS. So that's like my all-time favorite. The sound of it, the engine, how you rev, and the horsepower, the balance, and the feel, how it feeds back to the driver as a car, as a vehicle. It's pretty amazing.
Awesome. And then what about for the lower speeds? Like let's say
if there's a medium speed, like if you run Palomar or different part of ACH, right? And there's part of ACH that go directly to. There's one that how people when they meet up at a Newcom, they run to Wrightwood. That's one section. Then they actually meet on the Tahunga and go all the way to 14, right? So for that sections, I probably prefer something. I like the NSX. Quite a lot. Yeah, NSX is a car. It's still considered pretty low on horsepower, but you'll feel much faster because you're sitting so low to the ground, and you look over. Actually, NSX has you lower than this, so you look over at the ground, like right there.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, so you could feel. Maybe you'd be going 50, you feel like going 150. So it's kind of cool, and and still very old school. No power steering. You're sitting basically right behind your front wheel. It's like a go-kart, and every time you go in the corner hot, you can feel the compression on the suspension and feel the camber changing, and it's pretty awesome car. So so you have your high-speed car, which is the RS, and you have the medium-speed car, which is the NSX. Then you have the low-speed car, which is the A86.
Okay. Nice. So you know what? I do have a couple questions specifically for the NSX.
Sounds good.
Just because when we posted the questionnaire thing, there was an NSX video in the background from Petrolicious from back in the day, which was a great view or a great watch.
Thanks.
So we'll get to some of those. And this is actually a pretty good one right here. As you know, the market's changing right now when it comes to pricing. Prices on pretty much any import or any vehicle is skyrocketing. So back when you purchased the NSX, let's say compared to now, what did you originally pick it up for?
I picked up my car for about. My car's pretty low mileage at the time. I think it was about 60,000 miles on the car, and the Sebring Silver, which is a very rare color. But I buy it with the intention to try the crap out of it. So I paid like 28 or 30. At the time, it was pretty high for it.
Really?
Yeah. So
there's so much
I had
more
it
now.
for about. But you got to factor in. I had it for about maybe 8 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So 8 years ago, I bought it for that price.
That would be considered a steal today.
Yeah, that was
for sure.
Yeah. So, but my car is pretty get used up, which is good. I enjoyed
That's a good
it.
thing.
Yeah, I still enjoyed it. One of the best reliable JDM cars out there. Never had an issue with it. Just do your normal maintenance. It runs on a
runs like a dime.
Yeah. Notice I don't have Italian cars here.
So the next question, as an NSX owner, what are your thoughts on the S2000, which would be Honda's other, rear-wheel drive?
I own an AP2 also. I also used to have an AP1, and I think that's the only car that deserves an R badge but never get it. It's Honda put so much hard work into that car. I absolutely loved it. I still remember some of my craziest time that I spent either on a track and driving was in an S2000. So I had an AP1 when it first came out. I think back in 2000s. I bought one right away and drove around for a while. And unfortunately, one of my problems, I don't like to keep a car that had accident histories. Mm-hmm. So, I got rear-ended. It wasn't serious. They replaced the trunk and the bumper, right? Yeah. Frame was not damaged. But for me, it's like, Yeah. So I sold that to a friend of mine, and but I had such a good time on AP1, and so I bought another AP2 about 2 years ago, and started building it the way I like it, and it's by far one of the best bang for the buck. Right now it's crazy on prices, but you got to think back in the day. Yeah. It's one of the best bang for the buck car. It's reliable, high revving, sounds good, convertible, stiff chassis, and the build a car is fun, it's fast, it's enjoyable to drive. Until today, a lot of people still tracking it, and plenty of aftermarket support. I think it's one of the greatest cars that Honda ever created, and hopefully they're talking about bring back the S2000 again.
Heard about that.
And hope Honda, if you're watching this, and do something about it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
The S2000 is like a Canyon favorite, Touge favorite right now. It's always been, but right now everyone's kind of just driving the hell out of them up there.
One of the best 10 engines in the world. I talked to a very, very, very famous guy, and he's very, very well known for building engine and creating crazy cars. Actually, one of the cars he created is actually an E30 M3. Oh. Yeah, the S14 motor, he created that. I asked him one day sitting down at dinner, and I just go like, hey, so you're famous, everybody knows you. What's your 10 best engines in the world? And he picked one of them to be S2000 engines. Wow. Yeah, naturally aspirated, 9,000 RPM. Of course, the AP1 is 9. Think about it, 2.0.
That's
true. And reliable, and you still can work. I mean, when manufacturer creates an engine, they have to factor in the warranty. So they want this car as a real 9,000 and still. So you don't every time you rev 9,000, you have to bring your car back to the dealer, getting a new engine. And for manufacturer, that's a big no-no. So, because imagine how to create a reliable 9,000 RPM engine for production cars and that you can daily drive in. And still reliable. Look how not many people blown their engines in S2000s.
Yeah,
that's how crazy it is.
Yeah.
You'll blow your engine if you go onto certain California Speedway, for instance, and because you're on a high bank and all your oil, oil pins on. Yeah, so
that makes sense. Yeah, such a great car.
Yep.
Favorite thing about the NSX? I think you mentioned.
Wow, it's too many. So, first, aluminum monocoque with intruded steel chassis. So the front part of it is actually full aluminum, and it has the rear subframes actually steel bolts onto the aluminum frame chassis. So all the JDM cars I ever own, which is I have every single one of them, like from RX-7 to Skyline to, this is one of the cars that's the only car that's dedicated to one purpose, is to going fast. People might not agree with me, but you got to look at it. Okay, Supra, great car, but they share chassis with Chasers. Right? In US, or we call it Aristo, right? Yeah. Same engine, same transmission. So for production costs, they have to share platform. So when the Supra first created, it's for grand touring car. It's very, very soft, very, very,
Yeah.
The RX-7 doesn't matter FC or FD. It's when you're in a stock form. If you ever driven a stock car, you wouldn't believe how soft it is, right? So back in the JDM day, they want to build a grand touring cars to compete with the Porsche, compete with all the European brand at the time.
Yeah.
Then people say, what about Skyline? I have every single Skyline. If you drive the stock R32, you wouldn't believe, like, The only car I think at the time that's can give you a lot of driver feedback and it's very, very hardcore. And when they designed a car, the only purpose was, we're gonna kill Ferrari, we're gonna kill Lamborghini, we're gonna kill everybody else that's out there with our engineering, and that was NSX. Full aluminum monocoque chassis, and had it, Senna actually give inputs on the car.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. And dedicated gearbox, dedicated engine. That engine doesn't share platform with
anything.
Acura Legend or anything like that. And they build a car from scratch with the purpose in mind that
to compete against
certain things.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And people say Skyline. Yeah, don't forget you have 2-door Skyline, 4-door Skyline.
Yeah.
And they all share chassis and parts, right?
Yeah.
And the only thing that's comparable to that was the FC and the FD.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Gotcha. So the hardcore will be NSX. I'll rate FC, FD as the second. Then the rest is, I don't want to stir up controversies.
One of the last questions we got was the specs on your NSX. So have you done anything to your NSX as is right now? Or?
So I don't like to build my car to be big horsepower. I don't think horsepower is a necessity for what I have.
Yeah.
So certain cars, if they're focused on, you want to build a fast cruiser, and then you build on horsepower because it's more fun like that. All the Canyon car, I try to keep around about 500 to 600 horsepower, no more than 600.
Okay.
So that's where I cap it off, right? Because a lot of cars I use not just for Canyon cruise, I also go to racetrack a lot.
Yeah.
All the cars that you see here, actually I take down to racetrack. Except some of the very low mileage, crazy collection cars.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, I don't do that, but the RS I took it to the track, the NSX I took it to the track many times, the GTR, the Black Series, the GT3s, they all go to tracks very often, just not recently because it's too hot. So the specs on the NSX, it has a DC header, DC exhaust, and it has KW variant, KW suspension, and it also has sway bars, short shift kit, and just air filters, and mainly very mild modifications because you want to keep a reliability of the engines.
That's true.
And I added just little things here and there, just to make it more user friendly and more reliable.
Okay.
Yeah, but NSX itself, it's pretty reliable. When we shot a pictureless video, that was 108 degrees in the desert. I was doing donuts. I was driving around, messing around. The car I drove home. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna get back to the Touge portion of everything. Just wanted to get those questions out about the NSX because a lot of people had those. A lot of people were wondering about those.
You enjoyed it. I love mine.
So back to the Canyon, I think you mentioned with GMR, you do prefer more of a shorter run. One of the questions was, do you prefer a longer run, shorter run? So I would guess it would be more of a shorter.
But that depends, right? Like today, we used to run at night. We just get off work and a bunch of friends get together. We meet at a gas station at 10, 11, right? And back in the day, there's no internet, so we either set up a time every Wednesday, or we call it Full Moon Wednesday. Every full moon we run,
Okay.
And or we're trying to run on weekends because it's too crazy for a lot of people. So weekday we run 2 or 3 times. Me at a gas station down there, and also we run GMR mostly because all of my friends are around that area, right?
Yeah.
And ACH used to be another, 40-minute drive going there, right? But we used to run Wilson a lot because GMR caught on fire and we shut down for a little while. Then we actually started running Wilson, and Wilson somewhat similar pace. A lot of close radius turn, a lot of elevation changes.
Yeah, very technical.
Very technical, which is kind of cool because and also it's more controllable environment because you basically from bottom where the ranger stations at go all the way up to the observatory and come back down. And plus you got amazing view once you go to Wilson.
Yeah.
You can park there for hours.
Out there.
Yeah, just chill. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So what makes a car? Next question. What makes a car fun to drive on the Touge? Overall, what do you think? Just specifically targeting maybe suspension, or is it just
everybody different style? So right now, recently, in the I've been more focused on low horsepower front-wheel drive cars.
Okay.
So I was always known for four-wheel drives and FRs, and some MR, but I was never really known for MR because I started from Hachiroku and all the way up to S13 and FC, then and Supra, and all these cars are front engine rear-wheel drive platforms. So if you want to drive good, you have to find a platform that's more comfortable to you. I just didn't start out with FF. But later on, there was a time I bought actually a Corolla GTS. Okay. But it's AE92. Okay. It's a front-wheel drive. Yeah. I bought it to learn how to drive front-wheel drive. And back then they were cheap, $800, $1,000. Yeah. Nobody wants those cars before. And drove it, liked it, And that's why right now in my bunch of cars, I've actually bought a 2015 Honda Civic Si.
Okay.
And I also left the bone stock and to relearn what FF feels like in the canyons. And that's why later on I like it so much. I bought a Civic Type R, kind of bumped up in horsepower, and to I really enjoy it. But I don't think Civic Type R is no longer FF. Just so many electronics helping you driving the car fast, and that's why I ended up driving my Civic Si quite a lot recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So up there, what would you prefer? Like front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all wheel drive? What's
I still like the FR.
Okay.
So it's easier for me on rotations. So like later on, of course, because I was driving FR in the canyon, so I was competing drifting, and I started drifting for a while. And I like that when I feel the understeer, I can lay off the throttle, let my front end bites in, then I can either half clutch kick or left foot brake to shift the weights or try to rotate the rear end, and somehow it's I feel more control than four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive, basically you're relying on the powertrains, and you cannot really tell when they're gonna put the power to the front and when they're gonna put the power to the back. Yes, you can control it through some of the center diff on like the Lancer Evo, like the Subarus, but again, it adds so much unknown factor to the driving aspect of it. To me, it's just not. It's not clean, even though I own a lot of four-wheel drive cars, and they're great on high-speed stuff.
Yeah.
But for low-speed rhythm, a lot of weight change like GMR or Wilson, I don't think that four-wheel drive car does that good of a job. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And FF, if you know how to do FF well, especially some of the lighter weight FF, and it brings a lot of driving fun. I don't know. So two formats I like is the FF and the FR in short arithmetic canyon roads like GMR and Wilson's, and FR on the higher speed sometimes because like AP1 are known to be twitchy rear.
Yeah.
So once you hear, you're fine up to certain speed. Once you hear certain speed and it becomes really twitchy, you have to constantly correcting it, and you'll be doing really high speed and your rear end is constantly doing this. It's sometimes fun, but once your tires start heating up and your tire above its adhesion point, and it's just you don't know when it's going to give.
Yeah. Okay.
So, it's always what I learned from Touge was actually how to control your tire temperatures and your oil temps. It's actually very important. Oil temps preserve your car, and tire temps controls how long your tire is going to last. Also brake, because when you're going downhill, it heats up the brake tremendously.
Definitely. Yeah, the brakes are a huge factor, especially on the downhill.
Yeah.
It's kind of an odd question, but best way to socialize in the canyon. So I think what this person's trying to ask is just maybe they're new to the canyon. How would someone just, kind of learn or just become, meet other people and friends and whatnot? And I think it's just simple to just drive up there.
Yeah, and say hi. Be nice to people.
Yeah, that's pretty much
that's how Touge was built. People probably doesn't know what Touge means. Touge means in Japanese means up and down. If you look at the Hanji, it means up and down in the canyons, right? So Touge used to be a big family. It's not about who's fast or who's not. It is a car community in its nature. It's like people that run in one gun, which is high speed on freeway. Unfortunately, run at high speed on the freeway. But Touge is about your enjoyment of driving, and later on you meet some friends. I mean, a lot of my friends till today, I learned a lot from them in the car world, and they're all from my Touge back in the days. They're still my closest friend. We used to run every night, and I spend more time with them more than I spend with my family sometimes.
Oh, sure.
And we go there, hang out, talk about cars. Yeah, we run a lot. We run like 3-4 hours a night.
Nice.
Yeah. So go up there, say hi to a few friends. Just don't do stupid stuff. Know the rule of Touge. Don't go out and do stupid stuff. Don't bring drugs. Don't bring alcohol into the canyons. Create chaos for yourself. Every time you go out there, you do something dumb. You crash your car. You bring bad name to the Touge community. So go at a safe speed, have fun, but go at a safe speed.
Know your limit. Know your limit. Know your car's limit. And we have this little phrase that we started back in the day. It's just respect the mountain pass, which basically means, obviously respect the mountain, but respect yourself and your limits.
Also, one thing, do yourself a favor. You bring trash up there, bring the trash home. Don't throw trash everywhere on Touge.
Yep.
Yeah, consider that as your home.
Yeah, we were there last night, and we saw some people do that, and we're just like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Or just pick up after yourself.
And try not to smoke and toss your cigarette into the brush.
Yeah, that's
that started canyon fires.
Yeah, we don't want to see that for sure. So I guess we're gonna go down to like tires.
Sure.
Tires on your vehicles in the Canyon. What? There's so many different brands, so many different compounds. What do you prefer?
For Canyons, I prefer non-R compound.
Non-R.
You have to learn, because at that kind of speed, first of all, let's say GMR was that speed, you're not even heating up the tire.
Yeah.
So there's no point for you to go to R comp. You always go to a lesser compound. Like back in the day, we were putting on $20, $30 tires.
Gotcha.
Right, but you learn how to control the car a lot more. The car will give you more feedback.
Yeah.
There's no point you go to Canyon, your car is going to be like this. Oh, you're done. Yeah, it is cool. You get better time, but you're not learning about driving. You know, so when you go in a car, you have to correct yourself, and sometimes you have to use the throttle and use your e-brake to control the understeer and oversteer of the car, and that's where you learn how to drive. You know, when the R compound tire goes out and you lost one of the tools to drive fast, and most people will crash because they figure they have the R comp, they're going much hotter, then it lead you into trouble. Again, Touge is not a racetrack. No. Touge is go there to enjoy yourself, to learn about yourself and your car,
exactly,
and have fun and be safe about it, right? And not to create dangers for other people. So I don't think R comp is actually. Back in the day, we don't run R comp. Even though we have R comp, when we go to Canyon, we take it off and pull a street tire. Pull like not just street tire, the worst tire you can find. We used to go find the worst tire from junkyard and put them on there and
just go with that.
Dude, if it's not sparkling, that means you didn't have a good tires. Seriously, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So the thread, I swear to God, the thread on some of the tires will show up. It will sparkle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of tires we're running. This is no BS. People that ran with us back in the day didn't know.
Jeez.
We got inner tires just sparkling, and because it's the wires only showing. Yeah. So.
Man, that's crazy. Wouldn't that be a little sketchy though? Like,
it was a little sketchy, but back in the day, we're young, we're crazy, right?
Yeah.
Well, who runs Touge at night? I mean, it's just yeah, and like I said, you go there to learn about. Like I would never do that. But just talk about some guys are doing it, but they're crazy good drivers though. I mean, they survive till today. They're really still pretty crazy good drivers. They own their shops. They still drive Canyons. But that's how they earn their reputation as one hell of a driver. Yeah. So
that's crazy. Let's see. That's a good question. Just I think could be more in the general sense. What's something you hope doesn't change in the car community as a whole?
I hope don't change. Oh my God, but it's changing already. Yeah. So first of all, EV, smog, and the smog issues. This is something you guys as a car guy have to go watch out for, because they're passing laws right now to allow any modification in terms of performance engines and stuff like that. And I think it's your rights. Anybody that's watching this, it's your rights to actually understand that law a little bit more, and as a community, participate in your part to actually understand the law. And I understand where they're going from a government standpoint of view, but I personally don't support it, and because I think we should have rights to modify our car in a certain way and enjoy it, because this is our culture, this is our life, and I really hate to see this part of our life goes away. Yeah, so check it out. Right now, first thing they actually gonna be is scan your ECU for tune every time you go into smog. Then second, they actually, any shop that does modifications of cars is considered illegal now. They're fined a lot of shops for doing that. They already did that already. As a community, as a car community now, not just Touge, know your law and do something about it, so you can have your hobby. Yeah. And your kids will enjoy the hobby with you, and your grandkids will enjoy the hobby with you for decades to come, instead of watching it go away like that.
Yeah, because they're really pushing to stop everything, and I think it's SEMA that's got a petition out right now.
Yes.
Pretty much against that. So you know what? We'll link it in the description. You guys click that. Go ahead and sign it. We want everything to stay the way it is. We don't really like. We don't want any of this to go away. This is like our escape.
I don't want to stay the way it is. I want to change the 25-year rule to 5 years, so we can import our cars.
There you go. Even better.
Yeah. Maybe I should run for like a councilman or something.
Sure, go for it.
Nah.
So really quick, I actually want to get into the whole thing with Purist Group. I actually want to start with, how did that begin for you? How did that come to be?
So Purist Group started about 10 years ago, and believe it or not, it's me and a few buddies that runs Touge. So ideally was we like cars so much, but you know, Touge has always been an underground kind of thing.
Yeah.
You don't get to notice by if you tell the manufacturer that wanting to sponsor you, say, what do you do? I run Touge. Most likely they tell you,
Yeah, no.
nah, sorry, you can't. So it was more like at the time I know quite a few manufacturers and tires and engine parts. They're all my good friends, but I know I have a lot of friends that runs Touge. They know about the cars, but they would never get acknowledged by the other side.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd create a medium, people can come in. And then from there, more and more car guys start showing up, and we decided to start doing charities. You know my background, I was abused as a kid, and I ran away from home, and and I always wanted to be able to do something for the kids. And then that's why I started training Purist, started doing charity events. And one thing led to another. Now, every year we do charity event, 8 to 10,000 people coming out.
Yeah.
Like thousands of cars on display. And we collect 20 to 25,000 toys. And we send it out to the kids ourselves. Then a couple years ago, I started back to school event.
Yeah.
And we have been packing and collecting backpacks. And we went from 30 backpacks in 1 year. Now we're up to 4,000 to 5,000 backpacks.
Wow.
Yeah. So next year we're trying to break the world record of 6,700 backpack.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a lot.
Yeah, and we went from so how funny, right? So you say, from a bunch of group of friends that runs Touge, and now till today become a Purist, and doing charity and help out so many kids and so many people around the world, right? And not just that, we're doing event for homeless. We deliver supplies and blankets and to the homeless every year during Christmas time. Then we also do a dog and cats events.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we do dog and cats because to help them. There's a lot of shelter right now. They're destroying the animal earlier because there's no more. During COVID, nobody's donating money to them, so there's no food, and they just had to destroy it.
Yeah, that's
Also, man, do not abandon your animal, man.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
There's so many people that picked up
It's
a dog
sad.
or whatnot during COVID.
Yes.
And now that it's kind of, it's still there, but it's kind of phasing out in a way.
Yeah.
Or calming down a little bit. Everyone's just abandoning their dog or just taking them back to the shelter.
I understand it's responsibility. So like a lot of people has animals, right? They abandon for like dumbest reason because the animal. So during COVID time, which is a long time, for about 12 months, we got shut down, and they don't never wash their own pets. They don't know groom their own pets, so they don't know how to do it. So the best way to do it, just get rid of it. And it's very sad. Of course, a lot of people lose their jobs. Type of thing, right? So I understand, but very unfortunate to see a lot of pets get destroyed. I mean, I went to a shelter. There's a shelter we helped out every year.
Yeah.
I never seen that shelter this full. It's full. There's no way they can take it in. It's like hundreds of dog and cats, hundreds, and it's big shelter too. Every single the containing area is just full. It's like I was like amazed. And that's why, if you remember, I posted up about go adopt this. From this particular shelter, go adopt because they're about to destroy them. It's really, really sad.
It's so sad.
That is so sad, and a lot of people has older dog, they get sick, right? So, and then COVID, none of the hospitals open, and they don't know what to do. They just give it to an animal shelter. And it's for various reasons. I understand, but whatever. But So we do animal shelters, and we do, of course, abusive kids, and we help community centers. So pretty much, Purist, every quarter we have one major event. Then, like every month, we'll have an event to help out different things. Like tonight, 6:30, I'm going to another event. Mm-hmm. So one of the Purist member he had 3 trucks stolen, and he got involved with a hit and run. So he's very, very down. So he owns a popsicle store. So tonight at 6:30, a bunch of Purists are going to go over there and to support his business and
I saw you post that.
Yeah, make some difference. That's what we always do as a group, Purist Group. That's what we do.
That's great, man. I was curious, well, actually, first of all, I wanted to mention because we had a cruise that we went to a couple of winters ago.
Yeah.
It was someone else's cruise, but I think it was a toy drive that they were having. Yeah. And you actually reached out to us. You said, if they need anything, let us know and whatnot. And I think I got you in contact with them, and I'm not sure what happened from there. I believe you did donate a few things, but I really appreciate that. And it's always good to know that there's a group like yours that's giving back to the community. And then specifically, or especially with just involved with cars.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's not many that do that, and it's good to see. Where do you want Purist Group to go Like, how do you want it to grow?
So I'm 51 this year. So next year will be Purist Group 10th year.
Oh.
So it's pretty big milestone because you gotta know, from a group like 20, 30 people to develop tens and thousands of people worldwide. And we're not open to public. We just don't let people come in. You know, we're still very, very private group, right? So and these are 8,000 of select gentlemen and ladies that really have deep roots in the car world.
Yeah.
You know, major influencers, major video channels, and major car guys in there. And I'm glad to say, majority of them, doesn't matter how the persona is on the videos, but deep inside of them, they really want to use their influence to make a change in the communities. You know, it doesn't matter. There's quite a few of them, and I was shocked to see that, and I really appreciate them. But you gotta know, YouTube is what they put on for you to see. They're actor and actress. You gotta look at it like that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter to act, how crazy, how wild it is. I mean, off the camera, they're actually really darn nice guy. But too bad, most of you guys that probably never get to see that side of them because they got this persona. You know, it's like Robert De Niro always going to act like a gangster. He's never going to be like, oh, you look so cute. You know, it's never, you can never see De Niro going to be like that. So it is what it is, right? So I understand. You know, as a community, really see from where it began to where it's at now. We're able to influence tens and thousands of kids every year. I am for the first time, I am turning Purist into a foundation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it will happen very, very soon. We're in the process of doing that. So in the future, if I die, and of course, a lot of my possession will be sold off and donating to Purist, and continually trying my best to influence the world, and
That's awesome.
and of course, gonna have the right people who are leading Purist and spearhead it, and a lot of people donating their time into Purist already.
Yeah.
And Purist is not mine. You guys have to understand. People think, yeah, I created the Purist, but you gotta know. Just volunteers for events, we had 300-400 volunteers every year. Just the moderator team, we have almost 20 people volunteer their time. They don't charge me money. They constantly help us monitor events. They donate their time to help us pack the backpacks and ship the backpacks, and throughout the whole United States, not just California. We send out to Ensenada, Rosarito, Mexico, Nevada, Texas, Arizona, Northern California. We send our backpacks everywhere, and also toys everywhere. And it's every single one of the people that's out there who understand what Purist is all about and helping make Purist what we are today. And I really appreciate every single one of you. Don't give me too much credit because I'm just a guy who pushed the button, who started 10 years ago. But with the synergies, I really wish and wanting Purist to continue even long after I'm not here with you guys. You know, I'm 51. I'm gonna die one day. So and I want this. It's not a brand. I want this spirit
To last. Right?
to last for as long as it could, and for people to remember. Not trying to remember me. I don't really, you know, care about if people remember me or not. And I do this not because I want to be famous or want people to know me. And if I want to do that, I can post my cars every day. I get plenty of followers for that. But it's never about that, you know. And it's about. I rather people follow me because they want to do something different for their society. They want to do something different and to the community, to make things better for other people, to better themselves. And that's where Purist is all about. And have fun at it. You know, if you like cars, you like building stuff, motorcycles, anything, you know, that's where you want to be. Having fun, building cars with a bunch of friends, and do good for the community.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. And you guys are the next generation. Thank you for involving and understanding this, because, you know, if a guy coming from abused childhood, run away from home, and you know, running Touge and creating this, and everything I have today is about my two bare hands. I didn't take inheritance from anybody. You know, I went from $3.25 an hour to where I am today. So if I could do it, you guys can do it too. So
there you go. The man himself.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I think we'll end it right there, unless you want to share anything else.
No, that's fun. December is our toy drives coming out. You guys are all invited. You know, if you want, I open up a section for you guys. You know,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, which is just your own sections, and coming out, and you know, and Touge is always in my heart. And I don't run as much as a night anymore, but it is part of my life for decades. You know, 20, 30 years. It's one of my, you know, it's one of the things. Sometimes I look at pictures of cars, I smile, and that's why I went out and bought Miatas, went out and bought Civic SI, went out and buy back my Hachirokus, and that's the real me. You know, people now these days, for the past 10 years, sees all this, but it's part of me, but it's not so much of me. You know, my roots are like still like JDM car. I built it myself. I built my engines and my transmission in my Hachi, and I'm glad I bought it back. Thanks to the guy who sold back my own car, and that's me. You know,
That's awesome.
I'm still sourcing parts for my Hachi. Look, there's a window stripping right there. It's hard.
Yeah,
It's hard to find window. Yeah. It's hard to find window stripping. You gotta, because they don't make anymore. The only way you can get that is find another Hachi that's salvage or total and take it off that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. So
Sounds
again, be safe on the tollgate, have fun, and remember the principle. It's not about how fast you go. You want to go fast, you want to clock the best time, take it to the track, and bragging about your lap time. But tollgate, go there, enjoy yourself, finding yourself, enjoy the rhythm. It's you and the car and the canyon into one. Enjoy that moment, you and yourself, and with yourself. You know.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all
it's
about.
always been about. That's what it'll continue to be about.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, man.
No problem.
Thanks again, Sean.
See you guys.
So-
Take care.